industry.
I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Charcha with Dr. Avdesh Gupta. This episode 5.0 is absolutely devoted and dedicated for academic interventions to discuss the outcome-based education, new education policy, the changing verticals of education 5.0 in today's current perspective. My dear friends, I recall one of the small subhashit from the Sanatan literature, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktai. एजुकेशन लिबरेट्स यू फ्रॉम द स्लेवरी. शिक्षा वो है, विद्या वो है जो आपको बंधनों से मुक्त करती है. The important point is to explore the potential of understanding this thought process on this fine day, and specifically when the Government of India, Ministry of Education has announced the implementation of new education policy. Outcome-based education is becoming the buzzword of the academic industry. A lot of initiatives are being taken care. Why the various different educational parameters, educational partners, the industry, a lot of things are changing. So the question arises, why there is a need of new education policy, and what are those important components which comprises of the different aspects of new education policy. Post-COVID pandemic, the technological intervention in teaching learning processes has improved substantially, and there has been a significant rise in adopting a lot of technological aspects, and specifically when we are living in an era and we are talking about education 5.0. Let me talk about it now. What are those different technological interventions like AI, data sciences, cloud computing, virtualization, cyber security, IoT, drones, and a lot of other different emerging technologies which are playing a very dominant role. So what happened, what is happening, and what should happen? These are the three important questions which needs to be answered in today's episode. Friends, being an educator becomes my ethical responsibility to talk about and look into the various important aspects, how it can improve the entire academic processes. And over a span of last 23 years, since I am into academics as a teacher, as a professor, as a dean, as a different other academic responsibility, I have personally observed it, that there has to be a very advancement in terms of the paradigm shift. What has happened in last 75 years, and still, despite being the biggest democracy of the world, India is struggling to be into a top 100 universities. The country Bharat, which used to be the Vishwaguru, there was a time when the people from across the globe used to come to learn in Nalanda and Takshila and Vikramshila. A lot of universities struggling to become in the top 200 universities. Our ranking has significantly goes up. So this is something a question of a concern for us now. So I take this opportunity to proceed further on to the different important aspects here now. So let's talk about what do we mean by education 5.0. So today, once we talk about it now, so we started like, if I talk about education 1.0, which is fully dedicated and devoted only for teaching process. It simply means that you have to offer some courses to the students, and that has to be a kind of a rote learning. And therefore, it was required that we need to look into the advancements of it now. So education 1.0 talks about the teaching learning processes merely. And then there was a need to upliftment of the same. So education 2.0 came into the picture. Education 2.0 came into the picture, which talks about the intervention of the research. Because whatever we teach, it has to be driven in terms of the outcome. What are we creating? Rather than adding a value addition is something which is okay. But until unless we create a value, it is absolutely a big question mark on us now. And in today's time, in a country which was used to be the nation of inventions, जहाँ शल्य चिकित्सा प्राप्त हुई, जहाँ नागार्जुन ऋषि ने केमिस्ट्री को, रसायन को नया आयाम दिया, और ऐसे कई क्षेत्रों में, आप भौतिक लें, आप रसायन लें, आप गणित का क्षेत्र लें, आप खगोल शास्त्र लें, you talk about any kind of academic sphere, it was the India, it was the Bharat, which used to be the premier country which used to offer lot of training, teaching, and different other research-based aspects to the entire world. And today we are becoming dependent upon it now. A lot of questions marks are being raised when you talk about creating a research-based academics. Now, so education 2.0 is research. But the question is, are we really fostering upon critical thinking and innovation in terms of a research upliftment? I personally believe no. It's not mainly about a number game, rather than it should be absolutely driven by some value creation. Our research publications or whatever the various kinds of research endeavors are there being made by the research fraternity of country. We must bother. Are we solving the problems of the society with our research? Are we creating some value-driven thing which is becoming the world class in terms of a transformational shift? Perhaps no. Still, the top IT companies of the world do not get created, do not stay in India. They are born, they are staying, they are being located somewhere down the line in California and the other, western part of the world. And despite being that more than 33% of the total workforce of Facebook or Microsoft or the top IT companies, top 10, that gets generated from India, still none of the top 10 IT companies are being established or being created here. So this is a big question, because whatever we are contributing, we are doing it services for the others now. So rather than becoming a service-oriented industry, the question is, are we some research-intensive and productive-intensive industry or not? So education, after education 2.0, there was a need for education 3.0. So this education 3.0 basically addresses the different issues related to offering of community services. Whatever educational endeavors are being made by diverse universities, institutions, colleges or schools, are we offering the services to the community? Now, the answer is yes, of course. A lot of projects are there, a lot of academia, industry interventions are there, bridging the gap between industry and academia are there, where community services are being offered. So this becomes an education 3.0 model. While education 4.0, basically, this is something more interesting to talk about it now, because now India is becoming and trying to forge into it now innovation, and that's basically education 4.0. Education 4.0. This is the fourth version of educational paradigm shift, where we are focusing upon creating a startup. It was 2014 when merely 30-40 startups were registered by Government of India. Today more than 1.25 lakh startups have got registered. Youngsters of the age group of 20 to 30 are earning millions of dollars, and they are creating a huge contribution to the GDP growth and the economic growth and prosperity of the country also. So that simply means education 4.0. And while when we talk about education 5.0, this is about industrialization. This is about personalization. Lot of solutions which are being offered in terms of the requirement of personal needs, personalization and industrialization. Though industrialization started earlier also, but after the invention or lot of growth orientation of AI, data sciences, analytics tools and different other automation tools, things have changed substantially. And I'm talking about it now. When we talk about today's outcome-based education, is basically restructuring of processes of teaching learning, restructuring of process of delivering the curriculum, and third important component is how to evaluate it now. So outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based teaching learning, outcome-based assessment. These are the three important components which are basically being devoted for understanding the conceptual aspect of how do you do the mastery on the tools and technologies. High order thinking, how do you create a critical thinking prerogatives for the youngsters and the students rather than the rote learning. And finally, are you really serious about creditization of the marks rather than just only earning the degrees and certificates now? What are those value added creations? What are those outcome based education? Like somebody is pursuing BTech computer science engineering with AI ML. It is a kind of a degree, I call it a 4-year degree, where a lot of courses are being taught which are related to the area of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning and different other courses which are the component in the part of the curriculum of AI ML. But at the end of BTech CSE AI ML, is it really creating something which is very, very productive? What are the outcomes of this course now after the completion? What are those graduation outcomes? So I'll come to that part also later on. But the graduation outcomes are important from the perspective of overall growth of the nation. Nation looks forward for generating and developing and preparing the youngsters who are ready to build the academic ecosystem, the industry ecosystem, and of course now to become the world-class pioneer in different other areas of technologies businesses, social services, social engineering, and whatever the different important areas of concerns are there. So I take it now here. So the question is, now I am coming to the first important aspect which I started talking. NEP 2020, New Education Policy 2020. How things are becoming so prominent in it now? What are the different important aspects now? And what is the need of it now? As I told you that NEP is basically like we want recognizing, identifying and fostering the unique capabilities. Uniqueness is something very important here of the students. Why do we want to compel a student just to remain restricted to a particular stream? If a computer science engineer can develop a AI application for solving the legal problems of the advocates, is it not true? Or even if somebody wants to do good, better into the area of sports or education or music or something other different discipline, what is the problem? If as an IT professional, if as an IT professor, I want to learn something related to the hotel management, which makes me a more viable for living a quality life, what is the harm in it now? But earlier it was not so. But after the intervention of NEP and this introduction of New Education Policy 2020, new credit structures and National Credit Framework has been released by the Ministry of Education, Government of India. So I'm reading the elaborated vision of NEP 2020. The NEP basically aims of building an education system which is globally rooted in Indian ethos, and this is the vision document which I have with me. I am reading it before you. The NEP aims at building a global best education rooted in Indian ethos and aligned with the principles of flexibility, multidisciplinary understanding, creative and critical thinking, respect for diversity, equity, inclusivity for all, outstanding research contributions and transforming India into a global education superpower. भारत को विश्व गुरु बनाना है तो of course you cannot remain restricted to a certain minor disciplines only. The entire educational system needs to be revamped, and that is what being a professor and a trainer for outcome-based education, I have specifically gone into the details of those important parts now. Like you take out flexibility. So the entire credit structure is being designed where students can orient onto their own choices based on their interest and the talent, rather than being compelled for learning or opting some of the very mandatory courses. Of course, core courses are there, but along with core courses, some elective courses are there, ability enhancement courses are there, value-added courses are there, multidisciplinary courses are there, internships are there, skill enhancement courses are there. Jeevan Kaushal 2.0 is one of the initiatives by ICT and Ministry of Education which talks about student whoever is learning in whatever discipline should have those kaushal, should have those kind of skills which are mandatory. One should be good into communication, one should be good into leadership skills, one should be good into the different other important aspects which are required to become a Jeevan Kaushal. And that's what actually, if you look into today's time, a lot of youngsters are getting, a lot of problems in terms of their stress levels, and they are not able to handle it now. And it is becoming a huge menace. And as an educator, it is our responsibility to mentor them. So mentorship is an important component of outcome-based education. You cannot push, you cannot compel a student just only to learn mathematics in class 12 or some down the line just because he has chosen a PCM stream. So something else has to be offered where he can be relaxed with it now, where he can think of, choosing a career pathway, some vertical which makes him more interesting. And of course, there are thousands of examples in today's time where it has been observed quite closely, quite creatively that youngsters have done a wonderful job. Persons passing out from IITs and IIMs, they are choosing to start some startups and innovations where they are earning billions of dollars, and they don't believe to the area of their knowledge. Those areas where they are working their businesses, they are absolutely not in a match with the degrees that they earn from those IITs, IIMs or the premier institutions. So it simply reflects degree is just a piece of a paper, but outcome-based education, and NEP must make it sure that it elaborates the students for choosing the pathways and of course the different other skill sets here now. So there are different key concepts. So how do you make it a flexible? How do you make it a multidisciplinary? And of course, after academic bank of credits introduction And this is a new initiative which is still in the experimental process now. Ministry of Education is put. What is the point here now? Suppose there is a 3 years program or a 4 years program. Rather than continuing that 4 years program in a sequence, one can choose a break in between the way. After 1 year, you have to earn 20 credits per semester. So after 1 year, you have to earn 40 credits. And out of those 40 credits, you have to earn plus 4 credits as some minor project also. Once you complete 44 credits, you can take an exit out of it now. A 4 years program can be completed in complete 7 years. Moreover, there is a policy which has been designed and implemented, and gradually it will come into the picture also. Students who wants to take admission in some other institution, want to shift from one university to another university, can do it now. So ultimately what is happening, after a completion of 1 year, the student can get a certificate. After 2 years, it can get some kind of a diploma. After completion of 3 years, he gets a degree of education. And after 4 years, he gets a degree of graduation with honors or honors with research also. So this is how the entire thought process is being built, being implemented, being deployed. And of course, I am sure it will create a lot of opportunity. So in between, after completion of 2 years, a student can get all credits passed out till second year and can take a break, exit, and he will get awarded with a diploma. He can go for a job, some internship, some business, whatever he wants to do. And after 2 years of their job, of his internship, or whatever he does it now, once again he wants to come back to a third year, so those credits are available with him, which are meant, a registry is there, a PAR ID has been generated, and there is a concept of ABC, Academic Bank of Credits is there. He did first 2 years somewhere down the line in Delhi, in NCR University, but after 2 years he wants to learn, or he wants to get enrolled in some university located in Bangalore or Chennai or Mumbai or some other part of the country. He can do it now, and this is how the NEP is facilitating the youngsters, the students, to choose their own pathways as per their own interest and the talent also. Then there are some key components like in education 4.2. Prior to education 5.2, there were so let me talk about there are some flexibility concept. There is concept of multidisciplinary courses. There is a concept of ability enhancement courses. There is a concept of skill enhancement courses. And moreover, most important is if it is a 4 years program, one has to mandatorily go for internship and projects and etc. So there are total 8 components as per the National Cadet Framework, which has been released and which is being adopted and implemented in various universities which have chosen and adopted this NEP implementations also. Let's go talk about it now. When generative AI and a lot of other modern AI technologies are becoming the buzzword of the industry, we can't remain back or outdated or obsolete. We have to go along with it now. Therefore, there are important points like digital interactivity. Every student, whether he or she is a student of a computer science, or he or she is a student of a drawing, or he or she is a student of a music, he or she is a student of a political science or social engineering, or mathematics or biology or commerce background or humanities, whatever the academic sphere one has chosen, there are some important parameters of this current framework, of this educational framework NEP, that they have to choose they have to learn all those important components related like digital interactivity. He or she must have a sound understanding of AI and analytics and some data management. He or she must have some understanding about choosing and opting the way out for multidisciplinary courses. How to improve your ability enhancement. Language communication is something very important, and today's when we talk about and when I interact with a lot of HR managers of top corporates, they say students might be good in terms of technological understanding, though there is a skill gap, huge skill gap is there. How do you bridge the gap between industry and academia? So now I'm coming to the important point. One is experiential learning. It's important. Whatever is being taught inside the classroom must be attached along with the hands-on, some kind of project, some kind of a seminar, some field bar, some internship. Project-based learning must be implemented. Activity-based learning must be, rather than rote learning and merely a learning with the help of a board and marker. There is a requirement that modern pedagogical interventions must be adopted. And once we talk about modern pedagogical interventions, it's about opting PBL, that's project-based learning, ABL, activity-based learning, internships, seminars, conferences, conclaves, symposiums, organizing a lot of workshops on latest technologies, and of course maybe in terms of other simulation tools, presentation tools, and there are a lot of things which make the complete concept of experiential learning. And then it becomes an outcome-based education. Then it serves the purpose, and then so like it should be also available and accessible in terms of equity and inclusivity. Any Divyangjan must have equal accessibility. Because you never know, Divyangjan can become a top CEO of a top IT company over here across the globe. And there are a lot of examples where people who come from different areas where they were weak into it, now financially or physically or some other way out, they have done a wonderful job. So there is always a possibility that if you want your nation to grow effectively and efficiently, you must find out all those ways out now. Then I come across what are the various other important concepts here. So blended learning model and lot of technological interventions. Like, so I talk about experiential learning. So I talk about AI, machine learning, cloud computing. You have to look into data management. So virtualizations of data processes. And once you talk about data management, it's not only for technological students. The data management has to be done even for the people who are doing a drawing or some creative work, some kind of innovative work now. And of course now there has to be immersive learning. After the invention and intervention of AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, a metaverse is becoming the future. And of course down the line 3-5 years, probably it will take over the AI concept also. So one has to understand it now, and today's youngsters must have a very sound understanding. I personally believe that whatever is being taught in institutions, in universities, in schools, in colleges, it must create a sense of accomplishment. It must create a sense of endeavoring and entrepreneurial approaches here now. So there are a lot of tools like educational technologies are important. So like IoT, Internet of Things. So it provides you the augmentation for learning in the help of the remote learning. A lot of tools are there, a lot of improved resource managements are there, and enhanced student engagements are there. You cannot leave the student unattended if he or she does not show interest. Student engagement mechanism has to be evolved. It must be implemented in schools, institutions, and universities. It is the responsibility of educators. It is the responsibility of those teachers and faculty members also now. Then robotics is playing a very important role, and you talk about any area of concern including agriculture, robotics is playing a very, very dominant role. Cloud computing, big data computing. After this, I would say, the data tsunami, which is there due to a lot of internet tools, lot of data generation, social media tools, and a lot of interventions in terms of blockchain computing also. Technological cyber crimes are there that needs to be controlled. So I would say that this outcome-based education, this new education policy, and specifically with the help of technological understanding, a lot of educational improvements can be planned, can be processed, can be achieved. So I personally believe that everybody who is there into this entire academic universe must contribute significantly. It is the ethical responsibility of every teacher, every educator, every academic administrator, management, and the government itself to look into the adoption of all those modern paradigms which are required for the purpose of offering the world-class quality education for the students of the country. And I am sure down the line in next 3 to 5 years, India will witness a huge upsurge in terms of the qualitative improvement of academics and teaching processes, and will generate and will create some youngsters which will create the world-class products, world-class research, world-class academia, and we shall be counted once again. Maybe down the line 10 years, 20 years, India will witness becoming the Vishwaguru, the world-class knowledge superpower of the world. So thank you very much. I would request each one of you to please like and subscribe this channel. Usually I don't speak much about it now, but I'm sure in next episode 6 I'm going to cover probably some important technological aspects related to machine learning, deep learning, and gradually I'll try to bring out the understanding for youngsters from that perspective. Thank you very much. Jai Bharat.